Hey everybody, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about Patricio Pitbull. Recently it came out that there's been a whole saga on Twitter. We all know that PFL recently has not been treating their new signees from Bellator very well. After they acquired Bellator, they got a bunch of good champions, a bunch of high-level guys. Patricio Pitbull is one of them. Patchy Mix is another. Who's another guy? Corey Anderson. These are all guys who were champions in Bellator. Bellator got acquired, and then PFL just left them on the sidelines, barely made any matches with them, and they're all complaining. Kai Kamaka's complaining, and PFL is just kind of sliding into the side, saying, "Oh no problems." And then finally, Pitbull just kept going and going and going, and he's a big voice. He's relatively famous for a non-UFC MMA fighter. He's well known even by some more casual MMA fans. And he was just going at it over and over every single day. And eventually PFL was like, okay. And they just released him finally. And they just kind of played it off. They're like, oh yeah, if no one wants to, if they don't want to be here, they don't have to be here. Then why is Patchy Mix complaining? Why is Corey Anderson complaining? Why is Kai Kamaka complaining? Chris Cyborg was complaining until she finally got her fight with Pacheco. Like, clearly you're not making them matches. Clearly you're not sticking to your contract with them. It's crazy. But regardless, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Pitbull. So Pitbull got released finally, and he very clearly wants to go to the UFC. Dana White this past weekend after UFC 311 was asked about it, and he said he's gonna talk to the guys, the matchmakers, and see what they want to do. I understand why they're a little hesitant, because Pitbull's not going to be cheap. He's going to be expensive. They're going to have to lay out some money because he does come with a fan base. He does come with recognition. He is a former champion in Bellator in 2 weight classes. So I can understand why they're a little hesitant, because it's going to cost money. And he's also on the older side. He's like 37 or 38 at this point, and that's kind of old. So he's only got like 1 or 2 years in the UFC, and at that point he's probably going to have to retire. He's maybe got like 3 good fights in him left, maybe even less, honestly. So that's probably why they're pretty hesitant, but I hope they do it, because he's a really high-level fighter. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's aggressive. He's a finisher. He's always moving forward. He's always fighting. He's got that dog in him, even though he's been champion. You never saw him let up, become like less hungry. So I hope they sign him, and there's some good matchups to make. I was looking at the roster earlier. So I heard a lot of talk about maybe doing Pitbull versus Aldo, and having Aldo come back to 145. I think that would be a sick idea. Put that in Brazil. Let them scrap. They're both on the older side of things. You're not throwing Pitbull to some young, hungry prospect, and you're guaranteed to have a banger that's going to be on the feet. No one's getting takedowns there. Pitbull might try, but no one takes down Aldo at this point of his career. His takedown defense is just insanity. And it'll be a striking affair with 2 power punchers, explosive movements from both of them. It will be a really fun match. I think that's a good one to make. And it's worth signing him just for that fight, honestly. And then if not Aldo, it's like you have to give him someone at the top right away, because he's like an Asakura, except he's even more like credentialed. Maybe like a Dan Ige. Ige's like around, Tapology has him ranked number 15. I think Ige could be a good one. He is coming off of some losses, but they're very similar fight styles. 2 short, stocky guys who hit very hard with good striking. So that could be a really fun matchup. If I had to make a fight for him and it's not Aldo, I'd probably lean Ige. I think that's a good one. If you want to go a little higher in the rankings, you can give him like maybe Ortega, because Murphy's number 10, at least on Tapology, and I wouldn't give him Murphy because Murphy probably beats him, and it's a waste. You want him to be able to win. Ortega might be a good one. Ortega's also on the older side of things now. I think he's only like 34 or something, but his career is he's had a very long career, and I think that could be a fun matchup. Pitbull's also a very good grappler, definitely a better striker than Ortega, hits harder. That could be a really fun matchup, one that's not so like very clear, It's not one where it's like, oh, this guy's 100% going to win. It's one where you don't really know what's going to happen. There could be grappling. Ortega could lock in a sub or something. He can get sub. I think that could be a good one. Josh Emmett is another one. Emmett on the older side of things, but he's been inactive. I'm not sure where he's at with his career. You could give him maybe Diego Lopez, depending on how the Yair Rodriguez fight goes, but that's like really high up in the rankings. Technically, you can throw him right into a title shot if they wanted to. They just did it with Asakura. He's more credentialed, like I said, than Asakura is, and probably a better fighter, skill for skill. And you put him up there, you could probably throw him to Ilya Taporia. He's not going to beat Taporia. There's no way, in my opinion. Taporia cooks him. But you could do that, and it would be a decent title fight, a decent promo. You can do a decent promo for it, and then let him fight a few other guys, and then you're done with the contract. That's an option. But I think more likely someone like Diego Lopez. I think the most likely is someone like a Dan Ige. But if you want to put him up higher, maybe give him Diego Lopez. That way, it's kind of a win-win. Either Pitbull wins and you're able to build up on that hype and get your money's worth from the contract, or Lopez wins and he gets another really good name on his record. So that's an option too. But yeah, I really do hope that they sign Pitbull at the end of the day. I'm glad he got out of his contract. I hope PFL gets their stuff together because in general, I like PFL. I just cannot stand Don Davis. I think he's doing a tremendous disservice to that promotion. But regardless, get Pitbull to the UFC. That would be really dope. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.